You've come back here and you've got your angle to the pin, so you've got your target line and your intermediate line. Then get over here, get kind of set up. If you notice, when I set up, I'm so used to it that I'm automatically going to be 10 degrees to the left because I know I'm going to be in the side stance. It's a natural function for me, and after a while, it's going to be a natural function for you. But anyways, what we want to do is I want to put my foot right even with the ball like we started out with the normal flat lie and the chipping, the putting, all the other strokes, so that we can see how much it hits behind our feet. So this is our starting point. We want to take a practice swing or two and see where that club is coming down naturally during my swing. Well, where it's coming down, where it first hits the ground, not here, but it first hit the ground right here. If you notice, that's about 3 or 4 inches behind my foot. Well, then you want to take this foot, your right foot, and you want to move it about 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball, because now you've placed the ball in the position where you need it to be for that shot, because that's where the club's going to come down. And then again, you're looking at distance control. So from that point here, you're going to take it back, let it roll out. See how that shot came out. That come out about 3 or 4 feet from the pin. I'm going to have a nice easy putt going in there for par. When you're practicing this shot, the downhill shot, vary the shot. Now what I mean by that is you're going to come across the time when you're out there that you're going to have to add height to it. So let's vary, just like you did it in the pitch shots when you varied how much you opened up the club, let's vary how much you open up this club for the downhill shot, so you get used to opening up the club and adding the height to it just like you do on a flat lie. If you don't do it, you're not going to get used to it. And you know what? This is the easiest thing since sliced bread. All you got to do is practice. You don't have to do anything else. This is not rocket science, just practice. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up a little bit. And of course, I'm going to have that same line. And then I'm going to have that foot in that side stance. Now it's going to be a little bit more clockwise. Why? Because I opened up the club. And if I open up the club clockwise, I'm going to rotate my stance counterclockwise to keep that equal. Okay? So again, I'm going to be up here. The club is pointing towards the target, and I'm going to take that practice swing. So where did it come down? It came down right here again, which is approximately the same. So you see, it doesn't really change where the club comes down just because I opened up my stance. I'm still only 3 or 4 inches behind. So again, I'm just going to move my stance in a straight line from the position I was in and make that ball come out about 4 inches behind my stance, 3 to 4 inches. Okay, then the club is open a little bit. Now I can take this club back a little bit farther if I want to fly it all the way to the hole. Because now I have 2 things to think about. I have the lateral distance that I have to go here plus the vertical distance. So obviously, like we talked about in the cut lob, that I have to take it back a little bit further to get it all the way there. Once you start practicing this shot, you're going to find out that, oh my gosh, this shot is not as hard as I used to think. So again, it's about 3 to 4 inches behind my right foot. I'm going to add a little height to it. So I added a little bit more distance to it. So I took it back a little bit farther and it rolled out about the same. If you practice this, remember, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a sense of how this shot is done. You practice swing, where does it come down? How do I set up? And then the shot itself. Now, this is not a hard shot to do. It's a very easy shot. And remember, it's going to roll out a little bit more normally because on a downhill lie, okay, the ball is going to come out a little bit lower. Opposite, on the uphill lie, the ball is going to come out a little higher because the angle that this club is normally at is reduced by the fact that I'm going on a downhill lie. So it's going to come out a little hotter. So I hit the ball way past that pin that time. And so I realized, well, hey, it came out a little hotter. So what do? I don't take the club back as far this time. I remain my same rhythm. I get into that side stance. I've got the ball 3 to 4 inches behind. So this time I don't take it back as far. I retain my same rhythm. And what I've done is I've taken a little bit more off of it, rolled slightly by the hole, and now I've got a little putt coming back. Now remember, the difference in the angle of the hill, in other words, how much downhill you are, will dictate how far back or how little that ball is going to be placed back in your stance. In other words, if you have just a slight angle, well, it's not going to be as far back. You have a very steep angle, it's going to get farther back, because depending on the angle will depend on where that ball is placed, because that's where that club is going to come down. And all you have to remember, no matter how steep or how slightly steep it is, just take that practice swing, go through that procedure, and you'll find out where that ball should be placed. Place it there, and when you place it there, this shot no longer becomes a hard shot to do. It's an easy shot because you've placed the ball where the club comes down, so from that point on, it's just an easy chip to the hole. Many of you have probably asked, well, okay, that's easy enough, but where is my weight distribution? Well, your weight distribution is very, very important. Over there, when we had the flat lie, we had our weight 60-40, which basically meant that we had it 60% on the left foot and 40% on the right foot. Well, on the downhill lie, just like the ball location has changed, your weight distribution has changed. So when I'm on a downhill lie, if my shoulders are aligned with gravity and I want to be balanced, then obviously that weight is going to shift slightly back to the right foot. It shifts back to the right foot, so I remain balanced because the ground has changed where my weight distribution is. So when you're on a downhill lie, your shoulders are aligned with gravity and your weight is slightly on your right foot now, so you can maintain that balance throughout the swing. The more you practice this shot, the more you'll find that this is not a terrible shot. This is not a scary shot. And all of a sudden, this shot becomes your friend, just like all the other shots in the Interlink golf system.